Hello friends, I'm Divya and I'm back with another episode of Personalities. Today we're going to talk about J. Jayalalitha, Jairam Jayalalitha. She was born on 24th February 1948, right? So before I start, I would like to request you to subscribe Vaishai's channel, also subscribe Vaish courses, and if you want to buy test series or current affair package, contact the number given in the thumbnail, right? And keep supporting us by liking these videos and sharing these videos, okay? So let's get started. Amma Talaivi, right? She was known by this name. She was known as Amma in Tamil Nadu. So, Jairam Jayalalitha, she was an Indian politician. She was an actress, very accomplished actress, I must say, a philanthropist, and she served as the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu for more than 14 years between 1991 to 2016. She was associated with AIADMK, All India Anna Dravid Munnetra Kalagam, a Dravidian party, right, whose cadre revered her as their mother. That's why this is her name, Purachi Talevai, or revolutionary leader. So, we'll know about her early life. She was born on 24th February, as I told earlier, 24th February 1948, as her actual name was Komala Valli. And she was born in Karnataka, the erstwhile Mysore state, in Mandya district, to Jairam and Vedavalli. Her mother's name was Vedavalli. Later, she changed this name to Sandhya. She was born into a Tamil Brahmin Iyengar family, right? So Jayalalitha's father, Jairam, he was a lawyer, but he never worked and wasted most of his family's wealth, right? And he died when Jayalalitha was only 2 years old. So she had a very difficult childhood, right? Then the widowed Vedavalli, her mother, returned to her father's home in Bangalore in 1950. Then she was a very good, excellent student. She excelled at school, and she was offered a government scholarship to pursue her further studies. She won gold state award for coming first in the 10th standard in the state of Tamil Nadu. She joined Stella Maris College in Chennai. However, she had to discontinue her studies due to the pressure from her family and from her mother to become a film actress due to the financial crisis, right? Then, now we'll know about her family. The couple, that is her mother and father, Jayaram and Vedavalli, they had two children, a son, Jayakumar, and a daughter, Jayalalita. The name Jayalalitha was adopted when she was one, right, for the purpose of using the name in school and colleges, right? And it was derived from the names of two houses she resided in Mysore. One was Jayavilas and the other one was Lalita Vilas. She was fluent in several languages, including Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Hindi, Malayalam, and English. Wow. So her film career. So in Madras, now it's called Chennai. So Jayalalitha was trained in Carnatic music, Western classical piano, and various forms of classical dance, including Bharatanatyam, Kuchipudi, Mohiniyattam, Manipuri, and Kathak. Again, oh my God. She became an accomplished dancer and gave her debut dance performance at Rasika Ranjani Sabha in Mylapore in Chennai in May 1960. The chief guest at the Arangetram was Shivaji Ganesan, right, who called her Tangasalai, a golden statue, and expressed the wish that Jayalalitha becomes a film star in future. So, while a child, Jayalalitha acted in the Kannada language film Shri Shaila Mahatme, right, in 1961, which was starred by very famous Rajkumar, right, and Krishna Kumari. She was spotted by Kannada film actor B.R. Pantulu, who then decided to cast her opposite Kalyan Kumar in the Kannada movie Chinnada Bugombe. Her Kannada debut film became a blockbuster in 1964 and she became a well-known face. Jayalalitha's debut in Tamil cinema was the leading role in Vennira Adai, 1965. Her debut in Telugu films as lead actress in Manchulo Mamatalu opposite Akkineni Nageshwar Rao. He is the father of Nagarjuna. She acted in one Hindi film called Izzat, right? She started in 26. She starred in 28 box office hit films with M.G. Ramachandra between 1965 to 1973. The first film with MGR was B.R. Pantulu's Airatil Oruvan, right, in 1965, and their last film together was Patti Katu Ponnaiya, right, I'm sorry for the pronunciation, in 1973. She donated her gold jewelries, right, to the then Indian Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri ji during the Pakistani War of 1965. From 1968 to 73, at the peak of her career, she took interviews and wrote columns in the magazines like Bombay. Jayalalitha wrote 4 full-fledged novels, columns for Bombay, Tughlaq in 1970s, and she also wrote some short stories for Kalki, Thai magazine, right in 1980s. She had an insatiable desire in her mind to write her autobiography, but it was not fulfilled until the last. Now we'll know about her political career. She had accomplished so much as actress. Now we'll know about her political career, right? So on 4th of June 1982, she joined AIADMK, which was founded by M.G. Ramachandran. Her maiden public speech, Pennin Perumai, right? The greatness of a women, was delivered at the AIADMK's political conference in the same year, 1982, at the Kadalur, and it was well received. Even the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and Rajya Sabha member Khushwant Singh came to witness her speech, which was widely acclaimed for its clarity of diction and elegant prose. In January 1983, she became propaganda secretary for the party and campaigned extensively for the party candidate R. Amrita Raj in the by-election for the Tiruchendur Assembly constituency in the February that year. So Indira Gandhi ji, she lauded Jayalalitha for the various speeches she made on issues, including the one on internal security in Rajya Sabha. Jayalalitha was elected to Rajya Sabha in 1984, and she retained that seat until 1989. Her success in her role as propaganda secretary caused resentment among many high-ranking members, many of them and especially males, right? So member of that family. Despite these mechanizations, she remained admired by the rank and file of the party. She was given key responsibilities, including in the implementation of the landmark Noon Meal scheme when MGR Ramchandran was the chief minister, and this taught her lessons in welfare politics, right? We'll know about this welfare politics later. So after that, MGR fell ill, and then she campaigned extensively for the party before the 1984 Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly elections. Following his death in 1987, the AIADMK split into two factions. One supported his widow, Janki Ramachandran. This faction was called AIADMK-JA, and the other favored Jayalalitha, called AIADMK-J. So Janaki was selected as the chief minister on 7th January 1988. However, Rajiv Gandhi, he was prime minister then, he used Article 356 to dismiss this government. Right? We know it as President's rule. And at the age of 41, Jayalalitha entered the assembly in 1989 elections. As a leader of opposition, Jayalalitha became the first woman to be elected the leader of opposition in Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly. On 9 February 1989, the two factions AIADMK merged, and they unanimously accepted Jayalalitha as the general secretary of the party. And then the two-leaf symbol, right, of the party was again restored. On 25th March 1989, Jayalalitha was attacked by the ruling DMK members in front of the assembly speaker when violence broke out between DMK and AIADMK MLAs. Karunanidhi fell on the floor when one of her MLAs rushed towards him. Both Karunanidhi and Jayalalitha alleged of attack against them, but Jayalalitha left the assembly with her torn sari, and drawing a parallel with the shameful disrobing of Draupadi in the epic Mahabharata. At the peak of this situation, Jayalalitha was about to leave the house, but she vowed to enter the house until as a chief minister. During the 1989 general elections, the AIADMK allied with the Congress party and was handed a significant victory. The AIADMK under her leadership also won the by-election in some of the assembly constituencies. So first term as chief minister, it was in 1991. As you can see here, following the assassination of Rajiv Gandhi, this enabled her to ride the wave of sympathy, and this coalition won the elections. She became the state's youngest chief minister from 24 June 1991 to 12 May 1996, and she was the first woman to serve a full term, right? In 1992, her government introduced Cradle Baby scheme. This scheme is very famous. At that time, the ratio of male to female in some part of the Tamil Nadu was very low, and by the practice of female infanticide and abortion of female fetuses. Her government was the first one to introduce police station operated solely by women. She introduced 30% quota for women in all police jobs and established as many as 57 all women police stations. There were other all women establishments like libraries, stores, banks, cooperative elections, right? And she began to referred as Tanga Gopuram, Tanga Silai, golden statue, by her followers. In 1993, the Tamil Nadu Backward Classes Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes Bill 1993 was passed by her government in the Assembly. This Act of 45 of 1994. This confirmed the 69% reservation exclusive for Tamil Nadu. As you can see here, Madras began to be called as the Detroit of India under her term because she invited so many automobile companies, and so many automobile companies came to Chennai and they invested there. Right, now we'll know about her second term as chief minister. So AIADMK returned to power in 2001. Before that, one term was lost by AIADMK. Although Jayalalitha, she was personally barred for contesting elections because there were so many corruption cases on her. Within a few months of her taking oath as chief minister, she was disqualified from holding the office. Then, as third term as a chief minister in 2002. So, upon her acquittal from those corruption cases, 6 months later, Jayalalitha returned as chief minister to complete her term. Her appointment was legally voided in September 2001 when the Supreme Court ruled that she could not hold it whilst convicted of criminal acts. So, O. Paneerselvam, he was member of her party, was subsequently installed as the chief minister. In March 2002, Jayalalitha assumed the position of chief minister once more, right? And she was acquitted of some charges by the Madras High Court. India's first company of female police commandos was set up in Tamil Nadu in 2003. Her administrative abilities were notable in her handling of events following the tsunami that hit Tamil Nadu on 26 December 2004. Now, fourth term as chief minister in 2011. After another period, right? 2006 to 2011, they were in opposition. Jayalalitha was sworn in as chief minister for the fourth time, right? Her government received the attention for its extensive social welfare agenda, which included several subsidized Amma branded goods such as Amma canteens, Amma bottled water, Amma salt, Amma medical shops, Amma cement, and Amma baby care kit. So she announced the pension scheme for destitute transgender and also ensured members of the transgender community could enroll for education and job. Her government gave free laptops to students to impart digital education to rural areas. Fifth term as chief minister in 2015. The acquittal from disproportionate asset case in 2014 allowed her again to hold the office, and on 23rd May 2015, Jayalalitha was sworn as Chief Minister of India of Tamil Nadu for the fifth time. Now, after that, in 2016, again she became the Chief Minister for the sixth term, and after that, in September she died of not in September, in December 2016 she died of cardiac arrest. Right, so with this episode has been completed. Thank you so much for watching these videos. Thank you.